The biggest news stories of 2021 coming right up. Hey there, this is Chem Eng Weekly and this is your year in review. "2021 was a year of great learning and achievement as well as innovation, but what were the largest news stories in chemical engineering? In this video we break down the 12 biggest news stories, one from each month from January till December of 2021. Granted, some of these you may have seen before, but we also include bonus content that were not in the previous month in reviews videos, so make sure you watch until the end to find out all the information. And without further ado, let's get right into it. January 2021. The biggest news story of January was DuPont and Kemira partnering on a polysaccharide initiative. The two companies partnered to work on commercializing DuPont's artificial but engineered polysaccharides for wider usage. Polysaccharides have traditionally been used within backbone structures such as cellulose and are very useful within the world of chemical engineering. They've been used in material science, particularly for application in thermoplastic, fibers, and other materials. DuPont's technology was enzyme catalyzed, producing a high purity but equally useful polysaccharide which was engineered by the company. Kemira developed applications to make the polysaccharides usable within market for things such as paper and boards as well as wastewater. The partnership would yield a circular economy. February 2022. A new bacterium strain can improve wastewater treatment. A newly discovered bacterium strain was found to be efficient in the removal of phosphorus and nitrogen within wastewater, proving to be more cheaper and more efficient than current wastewater treatment processes. Nitrogen present as ammonia within wastewater and phosphorus present as phosphates in wastewater pollute the environment, so this new bacterium strain was found to be very powerful in terms of removing these and becoming more eco-friendly within wastewater treatment overall. It was discovered by researchers from the National University of Singapore, or NUS, when they started to look into a wastewater plant where nitrogen and phosphorus was being unexpectedly removed from the tanks. The strain was called Thawera SP-SND5 and was simultaneously nitrificating and denitrificating. The new method lowered the demand for oxygen, cutting the electricity usage by 62%. March 2021. Researchers looked to recover waste anesthetics. A team of chemical engineers and doctors were working together to produce a membrane which would capture lost anesthetic gas that was being vented from hospitals for reuse. Researchers from the University of Australia showed that a ceramic membrane could filter and potentially reuse some of the anesthetic components, which currently 95% are not metabolized and cannot be reused, showing that there could be potential for a circular setup. The membrane was shown to have a high performance even in the high humidity conditions of a breathing circuit, and therefore was hoped could be used more widely to reuse anesthetics. The researchers hoped that this new membrane could be retrofitted to the current machines, meaning that it would never have to be wasted in the first place. April 2021. A pilot plant was set up to convert soybean waste into bioplastic. The Finnish consortium devised a pilot plant project that would convert soy molasses and other inedible parts of the processes into lactic acid, which could be used further down the line. The lactic acid could then be polymerized into polylactic acid or PLA, which has usage in packaging, 3D printing and also medical implants. The pilot plant will have a projected capacity of 240,000 tonnes per year, and it was projected to be built between 2021 and 2022. May 2021. World leaders announced new climate change targets. On Earth Day, US President Joe Biden held a climate change summit which re-pledged the United States into the Paris Agreement. The US pledged to reduce its emissions to 50 to 52% of its 2005 emissions by 2030 as part of the wider goals to hit net neutrality by 2050. The summit ran over a course of a number of days and a number of key agreements were met. Some of these included Canada promising to cut by 40 to 45% of its 2005 emissions compared to its previous goals of 30%, whilst Japan pledged 46 to 50% by 2030. The UK announced a 78% cut prior to the summit, meaning that the summit was successful overall. June 2021. A stricken cargo ship pollutes Sri Lankan beaches. A cargo ship sunk off the coast of Sri Lanka, causing the worst pollution the country has seen in a century. A cargo ship sunk off the coast of Sri Lanka, causing the worst beach polluting incident in the country's history. The Express Pearl was transporting plastic pellets as well as toxic chemicals when it caught fire. It was carrying 1,486 containers, with 81 of those containers having dangerous goods inside them, and the ship had been leaking nitric acid on its way to Sri Lanka. The owner had tried to remove the leaking container, but it was stopped when it ported in Qatar and India because the portmen said they did not have the expertise to deal with such incidents. The ship's cargo included sodium methoxide, caustic soda, methane, and around 350 tons of fuel oil, all of which was discharged. It was estimated that 150 kilometers of shoreline and coastline was affected by this leak and dump. A major operation to clean up the spillage was underway, and whilst great progress was seen, the true extent of the damage can never truly be measured. July 2021. The WHO announced the first international COVID technology sharing hub. It announced this as part of a wider aim to scale up the production of mRNA vaccines in the fight against COVID-19. The hub is a place where clinical development and an industrial scale of production could occur, with multiple of these being founded. Universities were invited to take part in this initiative, as well as large researching organisations, including those who had made famous vaccines. The hub saw support from the UN and had a rolling evaluation going on by the WHO. August 2021. The biggest news story of August 2021 was regarding cookie cutter oxygen units, and here's a recap. 3 different chemical engineering students at 3 different universities around the world are working on producing cookie cutter oxygen units, which they hope will help with the portability and supply of oxygen in the most depleted places in the world. Following on from the COVID pandemic and in light of events in India where oxygen supply went disastrously low, they hope to be able to make cookie cutters, which can be easily assembled through locally found parts and sourced quickly to help ventilate and help recovery. The focus, it has been said, is on simplicity and low cost, not so much performance, and they hope that they should be able to treat multiple patients suffering from respiratory diseases like COVID at once through locally sourced parts and make it easier for recovery within the most desolate places in the world. The design is hoping to use a silicon molecular sieve to withdraw nitrogen from the air, leaving oxygen behind and making ventilation as close to pure oxygen as possible and helping the casualty breathe. It is an inexpensive process and therefore is anticipated it should become widely available once the project gets off its feet. Currently the experiment has achieved 70% purity in its oxygen supplies, but it's hoped it can reach 90+. The optimization process is currently ongoing, and currently the prototype in production can produce 50 litres a minute, which is enough to supply 8 to 10 patients with oxygen. They hope that these cookie cutters can help save loads of lives in the future and be an asset to any hospital. September 2021. The biggest chemical engineering news story from September 2021 was regarding Johnson Matthey and joining the waste to methanol production scheme. And once again, here is a recap of that story. But first, Johnson Matthey and waste-to-chemical company Myra Chemical are producing a method to develop waste-to-methanol technologies. The venture will see the crossing of Johnson Matthey's syngas to methanol production as well as Myra Chemical's waste-to-chemical production to help sustainability. This is an important development as methanol is very useful in the production of fibres and plastic feedstocks, and importantly is normally produced using natural gas, meaning this has implications in terms of sustainability as well. The process will convert the synthesis gas from the gasification of solid, waste plastic and other refuse-derived fuels into methanol using a methanol loop. The gasification occurs in a gasification chamber, where the waste is fed into a pure oxygen environment at high temperatures. The generated gas is then cooled and compressed as well as purified to remove any catalytic poisoning, and this makes it viable for methanol production. The methanol itself is usually produced from multiple reactions which are all exothermic with very low conversion rates. So by using the synergas produced from the gasification, the need for use of fossil fuels is eliminated, allowing for a more eco-friendly initiative as well as allowing for a complete methanol loop to be introduced. The loop will distill the methanol produced to a viable grade so it can be applicable into industry. October 2021. In October 2021, the biggest news story was a biotech demonstrator showing the production of ethanol from waste meat, and here's a recap of that very story. A consortium of Johnson Matthey, NORCE Norwegian Institute of Research, and Arsena have announced that a 44 million euros plant is set to be built in Norway that will demonstrate the production of acetone from industrial captured emissions. It is said that the Pyro CO2 project plant will convert captured carbon dioxide and renewably sourced hydrogen into acetone using a thermophilic microbial process which will hope to produce around 4,000 tonnes of acetone a year. It is part of the EU's larger targets to reach carbon neutrality by 2050, with the hope that this process can be commercialised in the future to make sure that industrial emissions are put into the economy rather than put into the worries of climate change. With the project running until 2026, it is hoped that the acetone produced from this could be further catalysed into other small products used for recyclable polymers and synthetic field chemicals, which could again help with the commercialisation. In the long term, this has hopes to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. November 2021. The biggest news story of November 2021 was the fire that consumed the plastic factory in Hull, and once again, here's a review. In the last week of November, a huge blaze was seen to engulf a plastics facility plant in Hull in the UK, causing a massive fire and sending a very large plume of smoke around the surrounding area. It is alleged that 300 tonnes of plastic fueled the fire, with some people claiming that polystyrene was falling from the sky. The blaze was successfully battled, although the causes of the fire remain unknown. And finally, December 2021. Investment in wet processing promises greener clothes. We covered this in the December 2021 month in review, and here's a rerun of that clip. A report made by the Planet Tracker think tank in association with the Apparel Impact Institute has devised that investment in wet processing could be advantageous in producing green clothes. It was shown that an average investment of $455,000 put into colour and textile processing plants within Taiwan and China could reduce the amount of environmental impact that the companies had, with the reuse of processing, cooling and wastewater proving vital to achieving this. It is estimated that the industry could save $6.1 billion by simply reusing heat and exhaust gases that could be recycled in different parts of their processing. It was shown to have a saving of 11.5% per annum, as well as a reduction in greenhouse gas emission by 10.8%, showing that there is massive potential in this, and it is quite promising for the future of investment. It is hoped that investors will put pressure on the producers to ensure this is more widely rolled out. And that's it! Those were, in my opinion, the 12 biggest news stories from January through to December in 2021. Did you agree? What other news stories do you think I've missed out? Make sure you comment down below and give any other suggestions down in the comment section. And with that comes the end of the video. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to like it if you enjoyed it, and leave your comments and suggestions down in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow us on our social media channels, and if you click here or here, you can watch another one of our videos. Click up here to subscribe, and thank you very much.